Jyotirgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Slowly and gently you may open your eyes. Once in the court of Janaka, sage Ashtavakra walks in, and all the ministers who are seated there start laughing, because Ashtavakra, the very name indicates that he has 8 deformities in the body. The sage had 8 deformities, so that's how he got the name Ashtavakra. So because of this type of body, all the scholars, all the panditas, all the ministers seated in the court of Janaka, they start laughing. And then before even this whole commotion is settled, Ashtavakra says, I thought I have come to the great court of Janaka, King Janaka. I thought great scholars are seated in this assembly. I did not know that leather workers and cobblers, people who are only interested in the skin, are seated in this assembly. Not to degrade a group of workers or anything, what Ashtavakra is indicating, that he wanted to engage with scholars, but alas, he now finds people who are only interested in his body or skin, how it is, because of his deformities. Ashtavakra's words have a big indication that in our life we are so obsessed with body alone. Just identification with one's own body and the physicality of the entire material world. We are only interested in materiality. We are only interested in materials. Unfortunately, we have not yet developed the vision to look beyond materiality. We have not developed vision to transcend the material world and see what is the basis of this entire material world. So the whole Ashtavakra Gita is stressing on this transcendence. Do not get caught, do not again and again get involved with the material world. Develop a vision to transcend it, Because again, we come to this pointing this regular pattern of human beings, that patterns go on in our life, and without our knowledge, we let those patterns happen again and again. Patterns of thoughts, patterns of decisions that we make, everything centered around body. Everything centered around thinking that this body alone is real, this world as it is real, and there is nothing more to it. We get frustrated even by our conclusions. Somehow we develop some coping mechanism through same material things. We again get disappointed, again follow the patterns. Ashtavakra is essentially trying to address this root cause of this kind of patterns that develop in our life. And then the Mula, Urdhva Mula, the Mula is being cut. The root cause of all this tree of samsara. What is tree of samsara? It's not marriage. It is life of becoming. Because we often address this, because samsara means immediately the picture. I talk about picture, right? The picture that you have in mind is your house and your family. So that you keep referring to as samsara. No, that is not what samsara is meant. Samsara is a dissatisfied life. A life where you are never happy for what you are. You always want to become something else. You always want to be in something other than what you are. And that's a very tiring process. Never feeling at home. Never feeling at home. So moksha or liberation is really speaking is coming back home. Coming back home. So what is a home in fact? In fact, we live our life as if opposite to the definition that I'm going to give for home. What is my definition of home then? Home is that place or that space in which all attempts to escape ceases to be. Home is that where there is no attempt to escape. But we want to always escape from our homes, you see. We want to go here and there, because we are not even comfortable at home, and then when we go out, we are neither comfortable at home nor comfortable outside. We want to come back when we are out. When we are in the home, we want to go out. No, not that kind of a definition. Home is that place where all attempts to escape ceases to be. Moksha is your true nature, understanding your true nature, in which there is no attempt to be anything else. There is no attempt to escape that. That's the beauty of this deep ocean called Atma Chaitanya. No way to measure the depth of it. All measurements fall short. And that is what we are aiming at. It's a possibility because it is our own true nature. If it was not a possibility, it's futile effort to make this attempt. If it's this make attempt. Also in Shastra, in Vedanta, we keep referring to our own true nature as Ananda. As Ananda. In fact, like I asked this question, do you see it as a possibility? Many people may not agree. No, Swamiji, may not be. But see, it is. You see, you are never comfortable being unhappy. If unhappiness or sorrow were to be the ultimate reality or your own true nature, you should not attempt to escape from it, right? You should have been very comfortable being sorrowful. Being sad, you should have been very comfortable. No. But you make every attempt to come out of sadness. It only shows that your true nature is happiness, Ananda, not sorrow or not sadness. So we do have this small tidbits of insights in our life, but we never take occasion to deeply dwell upon it. It's not that we lack experience or we lack insight into reality. We have not made it into our own. We have not made it into our own because we never have the mental space to inquire upon it, to stay put and inquire deeply on it. We keep digging small wells and alas, we can never find water. So sadhana is to deeply inquire into nature of oneself, into the nature of the world, and then this knowledge shines forth. Oh my God, I am the nature of fullness. My nature is Ananda, not other way around. Oh my God, I have arrived home. No, there is no attempt to be anything else. No attempt to be anything else. That's a possibility only when you transcend the notion or wrong understanding that I am the body. Because centered on this conclusion, there can never be pure joy or pure happiness. Because body is always subject to one thing or the another. That's the reality of the body, transactional reality of the body. Something keeps happening. Something keeps happening. After a certain age, you recognize, oh my God, sleep is also discomfort, because you wake up to find some pain, something else because of a sleep position. So body is always changing, something or the other always keeps happening to the body. You keep getting attached to it, there is no escape. You'll only be in the cycle of sorrow. So Ashtavakra is prodding us, he's really pushing us to see the nature of the world, to nature of ourselves, to embrace this truth. Because this truth, this jnanam, knowledge of the truth, frees us. This frees us. So in this regard, Ashtavakra, having said in the previous verse what we discussed, saying that you are true consciousness itself, nothing else. Later on in this verse, 15th chapter, 1st verse, Ashtavakra is saying, while a man of pure intelligence, yatha tathopadeshena kritarthas sattva buddhiman ajivam api jignasuhu parastatra vimuhyati. He says, a man of pure intelligence, a person of pure intelligence, that means a person who is ready, may achieve this goal even through casual instructions. Once you are ready, once you have antahkarana shuddhi with shamadhi shatka sampatti, even just one retreat is enough to gain this to gain this insight. You don't need to come back for next retreat. You see, we are not the billion-dollar pharma industry or something. Right? You never give an ultimate cure, because I want you to be dependent on my medicine. So I will structure the whole system in such a way that your cure is prolonged, postponed, because I benefit through that. So Adhyatma is not that. So the Guru wants the Shishya to be free in this very retreat, even though you may not return. It's okay. But the goal is that you got to be free here and now. Pujya Swamiji gives this illustration, in fact. How long should you keep coming for the retreat or doing Shravana Manana Nididhyasana? So he gives the example. You take the medicine as long as there is disease. Once the disease is cured, you don't have to take the medicine. That doesn't mean that you develop a hate for the medicine or anything. It has served its purpose. So similar is the Shastra. It has freed you, it has served its purpose, and then what you can have towards it is an attitude of gratitude. So this disease called dukkha, unhappiness, in spite of everything. In fact, if you really examine your life, 25 years back, what all you wished for, you have it today. But yet, we are unhappy. Yet, we are unhappy. Then how long? This kind of a quest for more and more is never going to end, never going to solve the problem. So, recognizing that, we have to transcend this body identification and always an effort to become something else. Thus, recognizing this innate freedom which is ever present, This is a bondage that we have created, and we have. If creating bondage is not in our hands, definitely sustaining this bondage is in our hands. So Shastra says, Naisargikoyam adhyasaha. Shankaracharya in Brahma Sutra Bhashya says, bondage is natural. This misunderstanding, wrong understanding, this ignorance is something which happens naturally. Nobody taught you to be bound. But then we go on perpetuating this bondage. Because I said comfort zone. Some comfort zone is created in all of it. So we do not want to come out of that comfort zone. We do not want to come out of that comfort zone. So for a prepared mind, even one sentence of Upanishad is enough. So there is a story associated with Shankaracharya and his disciples. His four primary disciples are Padmapadacharya, Sureshwaracharya, Hastamalakacharya and Totakacharya. Four main disciples. So once it is said, Vedanta class is starting, and then except for Totakacharya, all three disciples are seated, and Shankara is not started the teaching as yet. So all the other Shishyas started complaining, saying that, oh, why are you waiting for this dull-minded student, Totakacharya? He is all the time busy washing your clothes and cleaning up the premises, sweeping the ashram, watering the tulsi plant. What does he know? Why are you waiting for him? We are all brilliant, bright students. We are sitting. Why don't you start? So Acharya patiently waited and then called Totakacharya. And then as soon as he came into the room, he started reciting, it is said he started reciting this this shloka which is set in a very complex meter. Viditha kila shastra sudha jaladhe. It goes on. So Totakacharya gives the entire essence of Vedanta, and also in praise of his guru, he composes this shloka spontaneously. And by that, all the other disciples infer that, oh my God, what we were belittling this person is more ready than us, that he has received the teachings of Adi Shankaracharya already. He has received the teachings already. So for a prepared student, few words of the Guru, few words of the Shastra is enough to liberate. If not, it takes ajivam api jignasuhu parastatra vimuhyate. Even if you go one entire lifetime studying, attending classes, camps, it serves no purpose. It serves no purpose if you have not done the inner work. What is that inner work? Antakarana Shuddhi. Antakarana Shuddhi. So, what determines our growth is how prepared we are internally. How prepared we are internally. That's very, very important. It's very important. Moving further. Moksho Vishaya Vairasyam. Moksho Vishaya Vairasyam. Moksho Vishaya Vairasyam. Bandho Vaishayiko Rasaha. Bandho Vaishayiko Rasaha. Etavadeva Vijnanam. Etavadeva Vijnanam. Yathechasi tatha kuru. Yathechasi tatha kuru. See, I have selected this verse from the 15th chapter of Ashtavakra Gita. The text has further chapters, but even at this stage, Ashtavakra gives a very profound teaching to Janaka. He says, Yathechasi tatha kuru. You are not compelled to follow me. You are not compelled to sit in this class. Or you have no obligation to follow any of these instructions. Yathechasi tatha kuru. In fact, we all have this choice. We all have this choice to walk out of our own spiritual sadhana, calling it as futile exercise. But then, it is said, not to discourage the student or anything, But to make a very, very strong, subtle point, to also show that this is the only way. This is the only way. One who recognizes this will never walk out. Will never walk out of one's own spiritual sadhana. Because there is great growth and one is moving towards a place of more pleasantness, more happiness and more feeling relaxed. That's the whole of spiritual journey. He's saying that to make a strong point that moksha is possible, liberation is possible when you have really chosen intentionally. When you have really chosen the spiritual path intentionally. So that's the power of intentionality. You got to engage not as a belief system, not with some religious attitude or anything, but with your own viveka, through your own intelligent intention. That is what takes you further. Because now you recognize the value of engaging with Shastra, engaging with this line of inquiry. You force something upon yourself, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. So before that, Ashtavakra is again and again bringing this point. So that's why intentionally I chose this verse. How connected this proposition is for the overall picture of the moksha. Moksho vishaya vairasyam bandho vaishayiko rasaha. Moksha, he says, is distaste in the object of senses. Moksho vishaya vairasyam, distaste. Virasa, rasa is taste. Rasa is coming from ranj dhatu, means coloring, it colors. Rasa, I have some coloring or something of mine attached to an object, person or situation. Again I bring this to your focus. We never engage with the world objectively. We always add our subjectivity, we superimpose our subjectivity upon the objects. And then I want to derive some pleasure, something out of objects. So I have some agenda with reference to objects. So he says, moksho vishaya vairasyam. To engage, what is freedom, what is moksha? Is this ability to engage with objects, people and the world without wanting rasa from it. Without wanting rasa from it. Because you have discovered a deeper rasa, real rasa within. Which is that rasa, Atma rasa, Ananda rasa. You have discovered that no object in the world is going to give me ultimate happiness. The real happiness is in my own swarupa, is in my own true nature, and all other objects are situational. I engage with them for utility value in a transactional world. So with that, if we can develop this art which is based on viveka and engage with objects without wanting any rasa out of it, there is liberation here and now. There is liberation here and now. Reflect upon this. See if it is a possibility to engage with the world, not wanting any particular pleasure out of it. Then your life becomes very, very objective. Body requires some nutrition, you take it. House needs some maintenance, you do it. Body requires some exercise, do it. Whatever is required, you're doing it. There is no aftertaste out of any experience. So when you are not, this is another great profound impact this way of living will have in your life. When you are not seeking pleasure, you will not you will not get pain also through your interactions in the world. You get pained by situations, people, objects because you are wanting pleasure. When you stop wanting pleasure out of objects, people, you will stop getting pain also from objects and people. What a life! What a life! What a life to engage with everything yet be unaffected by anything. Just as the Hamsa floats in the waters of the lake, in the clear waters of the lake, one can very easily traverse through life experiences, never being attached to anything. Ashtavakra says in other verse, such a life of a jnani or a person of this understanding will be like a dry leaf falling from the tree. There is movement, there is activity, but I do not wish to go in any one particular direction. I do not have agraha, this has to be this way alone. I let go. I allow life to happen and I'm just floating in it. So that's the beauty that one can derive by dedicating one's life in this path. For that, again and again, sadhana and also viveka jnana is to every time you encounter an object, you try your best not to project your want of comfort, pleasure out of that object or out of that person or out of that situation. So there you're neutral. You have nothing binding you. Moksha means freedom. Freedom from dependency upon objects, people, situation for your ananda. There's no more dependency. So you're independent. You're happy, you're peaceful, joyful, independent of everything, without any dependence. See, we all have this thing in our mind. We don't want to be dependent on anybody. I suppose that's one thought keeps running after a certain age in every person. Oh, every person I interact keeps telling, Swamiji, all that we ask God is that we don't want to be dependent on anybody. May we have a life where we can take care of ourselves. Meaning, you know that dependency takes away your freedom. But in the world, physically we keep depending, we have to depend on one person or the other. If it's not your son, it will be on the nurse at some point. If it is not on your spouse to drive, it could be Uber driver. So life at the physical level, we keep depending on one person or the other. We cannot do away with that. Life cannot be lived in isolation. But physical dependency is not problematic. If you need, you have avenues to ask for some favors or some seva, some services or something through immediate family or people all around us. That's how employments are generated. That's how jobs are generated. That's how the whole system is built. No problem. But then, what is worst in life is the emotional dependency. The emotional dependency, we sometimes become very childish. Because we are, sometimes if we see ourselves, one may be very childish. Same childish attitude we may have towards emotional dependency on objects. A child is holding on to a toy. You take away that toy from the child, immediately it starts crying. Because the child is not only physically dependent on that object, it's emotionally dependent as well. The child is playing with its friend or sibling, and then it's time to eat. So the mother or father separates the child with its sibling or friend. Immediately child starts crying because there is also an emotional dependency on it. So we have not grown much from that state. If you see, sometimes the child is playing with a plastic car, we are playing around with real car. The child is playing in a toy house, and all we are trying to play in a real house. The child is holding on to a plastic mobile phone, cell phone. We are holding a so-called real cell phone. The child is holding on to fake dollar bills. So we are holding on to real dollar bills. So we are also playing, and we have developed the same emotional dependency on objects of the world. So there is no inner growth. So then moksha, everything becomes a very distant goal. So Ashtavakra is again reorienting us. Even in 15th chapter, after all this profound teaching, though he says, moksha is this simple. Moksho vishaya vairasyam. Making everything neutral. No special preference for anything on anyone. No object. If it is there with you for at this moment, it's there, that's it. No raga, no dvesha also. No raga, no dvesha also. No attachment, no need of aversion towards a object as well. So make it neutral. Whole world you traverse through neutral. Avoid all projection. Negate all projections. First sadhana is that. Then a time comes when we negate the nama-rupa of the world also, to recognize that the nama-rupatmaka jagat, the world, is also a superimposition on this consciousness. So it's a twofold exercise. One is raga and dvesha that we have projected on the objects of the world, you delete it, you negate it. You are walking through a garden. Oh, I love this flower, I don't like that flower. No, nothing. Just there. Just there. You appreciate it. You go take your plate during the lunch. Only menu, the name of the dishes come to your mind, not whether I like it or not. If it's edible, just eat. Neutrality towards lunch. Neutrality towards everything. So you have now first you are objectively engaging with the world. The second step now, which we have seen, we will see further, is a second step of understanding, analyzing the nature of this whole nama-rupa. You have deleted the subjectivity out of the creation. Now, what do you do with this creation which you are engaging with? Moving further. Yeah. Ragadveshau manodharmau. Ragadveshau manodharmau. Namanaste kadachana. Namanaste kadachana. Nirvikalposi bodhatma. Nirvikaras sukham chara. Nirvikaras sukham chara. Now you see, anything, raga meaning attachment, dvesha meaning aversion, are they in the object? Does this tumbler or glass of water, does it have a raga and dvesha in it? Does it have attachment and aversion in it? Yes or no? No, we should tell it strongly then. Then where is it? Where is raga and dvesha? In our mind. Through this simple exercise, can you appreciate this fact? There is nothing wrong in the world. World is what it is. And raga, dvesha, any projection is internally in our minds. In our minds. Yes. So this is what Upanishad, the rishis of Upanishads had discovered, had understood. Years ago, Amrita Bindu Upanishad says, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. It is not the world which is cause of your bondage. It is your mind which is the cause of the bondage. The world doesn't hold you. You are holding on to the world. It is like saying, I want to be free from this clock. I want to be free from this clock. I want to be free from this clock. Arey, let go of the clock. Clock is not holding you. You are the one holding on to the clock. We fear losing things if we let go of our attachment, our superimpositions on relationships, on world, on our household, everything. No, nothing happens. Nothing happens. See, we always feel, if I am not there in this home, or if I am not there here and here at this moment in this particular situation, my whole life will collapse. That's the feeling we have. But sometimes there's some emergency call from India or something. You book the next flight and go, isn't it so? But 1 minute before that, you had a feeling that if you are not there, if you are not able to do all these tasks today, your life will collapse. No, it doesn't collapse. There will be changes. We are not advocating a loose, irresponsible way of living. No. What we are trying to say that this much of attachment and agraha, agenda that you project on your life is not required. Life will go on. Follow the calendar, follow the timetable, follow the schedule. Nothing wrong. But no need to invest this much of attachment and agenda into your own life, into the relationships, into the objects that you interact with. It is a possibility to be separate from it. And we have this in our own experiences. Suddenly, when we are so engaged with so many things in our life, suddenly something goes wrong in health. You let go of everything else and prioritize your health, isn't it so? How are you able to let go of every raga, every agenda that you had? Before that, if this particular clock was not on this table in this angle, you get worked up. You had to do it. But now, you're handling a health, you don't care where it is sitting. You don't care if the table gathers some dust, some lint. You don't care. How is that? Because something else has become priority. You learn to let go. So how can you let go? By prioritizing this freedom, this liberation. It is worth getting it here and now in this very life. What is a good scene? What is a good picture? Should we walk around the world with our hands tied or chained, or should we be, what is good, to be walking free? Definitely the option B. So these invisible chains of bondage we have to let go by disassociating with raga and dvesha. No need to dissociate with the world. What you have to dissociate is the raga and dvesha. Raga dvesha manodharmau. So Ashtavakra is telling, raga and dvesha are objects of mind. They are mental categories. And here he says, namanaste kadachana. See that this mind is a phenomenon. It's not even yours. It's just the mind. Our language vocabulary, the transactional world, makes us call it as our mind, my mind. My mind is just the mind. So until, or I will put it in another way, until you have full control or mastery over your own mind and ways of thinking, then it is not yours. Till then, at least you're not. If it is yours, at least you must be able to control it the way you want, handle it the way you want. So at least till then, it is not my mind or our mind. So, ragadvesho manodharmo namanaste kadachana. Understand that the mind is not yours. It has never been yours. It has never been yours. Look at it as a phenomenon. Look at everything as a phenomenon. So, including your mind. Nirvikalposi bodhatma nirvikara sukham chara. Understand that you are this awareness, choiceless awareness. This light of consciousness is a witness to everything without choice. There's no choice in witnessing anything. It's a choiceless consciousness. It's also manifesting as witness. You go on witnessing every scene of your life, everything you hear, everything, you are just a witness. Choices, everything is at the level of the mind, not as consciousness. You are free here and now if you can recognize this. Nirvikalposi bodhatma nirvikaras sukham chara. We are always bothered about changes in the world, changes in the body, changes in the relationships. The change bothers us. What we are always looking for is changeless place. Something that is changeless. Why? Because we are always bothered about changes. Any change. Spring weather suddenly became winter weather. We are affected by change. Oh, what is this? Everybody keeps on complaining about it. In the US, half the talk is only about weather. So, never you are comfortable. In summer, you are complaining about heat. In winter, you are complaining about cold. In spring, you are complaining about pollen. So, what now? What is left? Nothing is left. Always complaining about something else, something exterior. So, basically, we are bothered about change. What our complaining shows is that we are looking for something changeless. Everything that we do. If a coffee is not the same, we complain. We go to a coffee, oh my God, this is different. Meaning what? It's changed from what you wanted it to be. The change, you have no ability to accept change. One day, you look at your mirror, look at yourself at the mirror, the hairs are grey, and then you are unable to accept it. You are unable to accept the way body is looking. Unable to accept so many things. Because we are afraid of change. We do not want change. It only shows that we are looking for changeless. But alas, we are looking for changeless in a world whose nature is to change. So it's like expecting a chameleon to be in one color. How can that be possible? It's just not possible. But then, our own attitude towards world shows that we are looking for something deeper, something changeless. And what is that changeless? This awareness, consciousness, which is a changeless witness to everything. There was night sleep. You are a witness to the night sleep. You wake up feeling that you slept or did not sleep. You are a witness to that changes. There's been dream. So many changes within the dream. Yet, as a witness from an unchanging place, you're looking at the changes in the dream. Now in the waking world. But some are in deep sleep world. But for those who are in the waking world, many things are changing, yet you are a witness to all of it. You are an unchanging witness. True happiness is only there in this unchanging consciousness. But we are searching for true happiness in the changing world, which one will never get. That's what Ashtavakra is telling. Nirvikara sukham chara. May you understand this, that you are the unchanging self, and then live happily ever after. This is Vedanta's picture of that. In the movies and everything, two people will get married and they lived happily ever after. That is shown, the picture. So this is Vedanta's picture of, you have discovered that the world is always changing and you are the changeless self, and true happiness lies here and here in this consciousness, and you live happily ever after. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om.